My video topics that I talk about on here pretty much always come from either questions I keep getting asked over and over, or they come from a conversation that I have with other real estate agents. So today's video stems from a conversation that I was having the other day with a fellow real estate agent, a gal that I was chatting with over Zoom who's also with Real Broker. And we were basically just chatting about her business and where the big pain points are right now in her business. And one of the things that she was telling me is she's a newer agent and she's been having a really hard time gaining momentum in her business. She's only sold a few houses at this point and is having a hard time just breaking through in the market, if that makes sense. And the big reason why, or what she thought was the reason why, is because she lives in a town where it's a city, it's a big city, and it's very oversaturated with real estate agents. Tons of agents, so many agents who have been in the business for a very, very long time live there and have very established businesses there. So her whole thing is like, I just can't get out of my head, or I can't get over this in my head. Like, why would someone work with me? Why do they want to work with me? There are 20 million other agents like right here in my town who have been doing this way longer than me, are way more qualified. Why would they choose me? And this was a really big holdup in her business right now. So guys, we are just going to chat about this. I have a couple main points that I want to hit on, and we're just going to have a little discussion about this topic. And also, you little like housekeeping things, I have been filming these videos lately on this channel on my iPhone. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, do you notice? Do you care? Does it make a difference? Because I have professional camera gear as well. Because I really like these videos to be like laid back. I want it to just feel like we are literally just sitting and drinking our tea together, although I already drank mine, so I'm sorry I didn't wait for you, but I just like it to be like super laid back, like friend to friend, agent to agent, having these conversations. And there's something about just having it on my phone that I feel, I don't know, I just personally like it. So let me know what you guys think. And I do come on here every single week and talk all about real estate. So if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell. I would love to be your real estate bestie and chat real estate. And I would love for you to come back and listen to me talk about real estate every week. Okay. Let's get into these points. We are going to get into some practical steps, like practical. I'm a very practical gal. I like the actionable, like this is what you can do today practically to apply this to your business. However, before we get into those practical things that you can do today, if you're in this situation as well, like this sweet gal that I was talking to is, the first thing you need to do though is to work on your mindset. Because realistically, if you have this belief that you truly believe in your mind, no, why would anyone work with me? There's so many other agents. There's way more people that are way more qualified than me. If that is the thing, the narrative that's going on in your brain, that's how you're going to be showing up. And if you're like bringing that energy with you, if that, I don't really know how to explain this besides that word, but like if that's what you're carrying with you, is like, why does anyone want to work with me? I don't have anything to offer as a real estate agent or whatever like business it is, then it's just not going to go down well. So before you can even apply these practical things, you need to change that belief. And really the only way to do that is to take that belief, that thought of why would anyone want to work with me? I have nothing to offer as a real estate agent, and you need to replace it. And anytime that thought starts coming up, you just need to replace it with a better thought that is, let's just off the top of my head, like, why wouldn't people want to work with me? Or I actually have a lot to offer as a real estate agent. Maybe you've only sold 3 houses, but maybe change it to I have sold 3 houses. That's 3 more than someone who just got their license yesterday, and they can't say that. Or that's 3 more than the person I'm trying to list their house because they've never sold a house before. I have the expertise. I went to real estate school. They need me. Like, you need to change your mindset to that. And so whenever you start having those thoughts of why would they work with me? Everyone else has been doing this for way longer. You need to stop it right there and change that thought. And the only way to really do it, I think, is to replace that thought with a different one that says, I don't know, maybe the opposite. And last thing I'll say about this is, if you don't even believe yourself, like that you are good enough to sell a house, or you're good enough to be a real estate agent and do a good job, like why would they believe you? So you have to believe it first before your client's going to believe you. when I got my real estate license and I was 18, I had no reason to be confident. I had no reason to be going into listing appointments acting like I knew what I was doing, because I didn't. But I had to do that, because otherwise the sellers that I was working with, they wouldn't have believed me. If I didn't believe me first that I could do a good job and didn't like really have that strong mindset around that, then the sellers I was going into their houses to list, they would definitely have not believed me either. You really need to change that inner narrative before you can do these practical steps that we're going to get into now. This next tip is what makes you different, what sets you apart, and what makes you unique, and really capitalize on that in your business. When I was first getting my real estate license, I interviewed at a handful of brokerages, but I knew in my brain there was one brokerage I wanted to be with, and I knew I was only interviewing at the other brokerages like for fun or for practice, because I knew I didn't want to go with them. The other ones all called me back and were like, hey, you can start, this date, whatever. But the one I wanted to be with didn't call me back. So a couple weeks went by and I called them and I was like, hey, are you guys going to call me? Like, I'm ready to start. Like, when can I come in? And they were like, well, actually, we weren't going to call you back because we really don't think that someone your age can have what it takes to do this job. And we don't want you to get yourself in a bad position. So I asked for another interview. And when I asked for that other interview, I thought, okay, I need to come up with all the reasons why I can use my age to an advantage, because this brokerage, the reason that they were saying they didn't want to have me there was because I was too young. So I needed to think of all the reasons why being young was actually a good thing and why they should want me there because I'm young. So I went to my bedroom and I wrote out, I still lived with my parents. I just graduated high school. So I wrote out a list. I brainstormed with myself and I thought of all the reasons why I would do a better job than somebody who is 10, 20 years older than me. And those looked like, I have no kids, so I don't have to be driving my kid to soccer practice. I can dedicate literally all my time to do a great job for my clients and study this, and like I have no other responsibilities in life. Like, those were the things that I was talking about in a way that I can use them to my advantage. And I ended up, after that meeting, they let me work there, so that was cool. But all that to say is I had to focus on what made me unique and really sell that to them. Now, applying this to your real estate business, it's not going to look necessarily like that story did, but let me just brainstorm a few examples with you out loud. Let me just think out loud. So maybe you live in a townhouse and you love townhouses. Maybe you can just start making content all about townhouses. Like, how many specific videos can you make only about townhouses? And you can just become the townhouse guru and the go-to townhouse person for your niche, or condos, or farmland, or whatever that niche is for you. I know another real estate agent who is a homeschooling mom, and pretty much she does really well in the business. She crushes it, and pretty much all of her business is from the homeschooling community because she capitalizes on that. That is like her part of her brand. She goes all in on that, and then the people find her. So what is it about you that's unique? Are you bilingual? Do you speak another language? If so, that is something to totally use to your advantage. Do you are you part of some community, or I don't know, that's not real estate related? Do you have some sort of hobby that's not real estate related, but you can totally capitalize on it, and that's what makes you unique? So instead of wondering, why would someone work with me over this gal over here who's been selling houses for 20 years, why wouldn't they just work with her? Maybe they would connect with you better because you are you, but you really need to capitalize on that and go all in on whatever it is that makes you unique, and really play on your strengths and pull those strengths out and use them for your business. So how do I do this now? Well, I have used video marketing for a very long time. And that's what I've gotten really good at in my business. So I capitalize on that. That's what I do. I've worked with many relocation buyer clients, people who are moving to our area from out of state, and they buy a house sight unseen. They don't even see the house until after we close on the home most often. And that's a skill set that most agents don't have, because it's definitely a very different situation than just selling a house when the client's here in person. There's a lot of things that you have to remember and do and keep in mind that the process just looks a little different. But I've done it so many times that that's what sets me apart, and I can really capitalize on that and go all in on that. Another example is I have agents who are contacting me all the time about wanting me to be their sponsor at my brokerage and join our network at Real Broker. Many of these agents, I would say not all of them. We get a very wide variety of agents, and I love that so much, but many of them are other moms, or they're young girls, or they're just women in general. And many of them I have a lot of things in common with, actually, and I don't think that's random. I think that it's on purpose, because I'm just myself in these videos that I make where the other agents find me. I use a lot of pink in my marketing, which it attracts a lot of women. Not as many men. If you looked at the ratio of people in our network at Real Broker, it is a high majority. There are men, but the high majority is women. And so that's all because that's what I'm putting out there. I'm putting out video thumbnails with pink and sparkles, and I'm talking about how I'm a mom while also selling houses. So many of these agents that I get to talk to and meet are also moms while selling houses. And so just go all in on who you are and what your strengths are, and ask yourself, how can I use my strengths to my advantage in my business, but also how can I use what sets me apart in my business to my advantage? Okay? I'm not gonna keep going on this, but maybe you're 18. I literally have agents, I have agent friends online, who I talk to over the social medias, which is so much fun, who are 18, like I was when I got into real estate, which is so cool and so much fun to get to talk to them. And one of the things that they're focusing on is first-time buyers. Are you young? And like, maybe are you really young and that's like the part of life that you're in? Like, capitalize on that, okay? All I'm going to talk about now for that. My next tip for somebody in this situation, of a similar situation to this gal that we mentioned at the beginning of this video, is you cannot be scared of the commitment of structure and routine. As real estate agents, we all get into this business because we want freedom. We want to make our own schedules. But let me tell you, if you have absolutely no structure whatsoever in your business, you are actually hurting yourself. I really, truly believe. So I will just give my example, my personal example to share. I have had the same exact schedule since I became a mom 4.5 years ago. We have stuck to this, and I have not, this is it. And so what that schedule basically is I have 2 days out of the week, same exact days every week. And those are my work days. And I know coming up, like, these are the days I'm going to intentionally time block my time for work. Whatever, I'm going to do as many dollar producing activities into those days as I can. And what I found is that having this structure actually, although it's only 2 days, I know that having this little bit of structure, I never miss them. Like, if somebody wants to do something during those days, like, I'm sorry, even if there's nothing on my calendar for work, I'm working. I'm doing a dollar producing activity. I'm making work. I'm doing that. I'm dedicated to that. And I don't waver it. Like, I don't. And so having that structure, though, has brought more freedom into my business. And the way that it has is because on the days that I'm working, I'm not feeling guilty about not being with my daughter, because I know my rest of my week, I get to be a stay-at-home mom. Yes, obviously, I'm answering calls and texts and emails from my clients, which is fine. I don't consider that work because I love it, and it's really not this huge time-consuming thing for my business right now. Also, I'm always, even on my non-work days, I'm always communicating with agents, any agents in our community at Real who want to reach out to me with questions and want some advice or whatever. Like, I am always there for them, and that's not something that I ever have a problem with. I might run and do a virtual tour for a house, but I'm bringing my daughter with me. Like, it's not a big deal. But on those days where I'm not working, like, there's things that I will still do, but for the most part, when I'm not working, I don't feel guilt about not working, because I know I've got those 2 days and those are when I'm going to be working. Otherwise, I'd probably just be waking up and everything would just be a jumbled mess in my brain. I wouldn't know when work starts and when it ends. And so maybe you're in a different season of life and you want to work 5 days a week, and if you are, that's great. But just having some sort of structure and plan for your business. And I think a lot of agents that I've talked to that are brand new agents, that they haven't started gaining momentum in their business, and I think this is why, because you need some sort of consistency and structure. There's no way I would have been consistent with prospecting and now marketing if I didn't have those days in my schedule every week, because something is going to always come up that seems more urgent, because those things aren't very urgent, but they are very important. So you've got to have that structure to start building the momentum in your business. And also, another thing is, I've heard from agents is it sounds like they're very scared of the commitment of that structure, because they don't want to say like, this is my work schedule, because then they won't have the freedom that we all want as entrepreneurs to just wake up and do whatever they want. But like I said, what I found is having that structure brings a lot of peace, and it brings a lot more freedom actually to your business than you might think. My next tip for somebody in this position or situation is, what do you love and enjoy? What are your hobbies? There are so many ways to get business in this business, and they all work. Like literally all of them work. You just have to find what works for you. Do you love throwing parties, or do you love like hosting events and having gatherings? Then let that be your prospecting. Just put it on your schedule. Like whatever you decide to do, it's gonna work if you put it on your schedule and you're consistent with it. Like selling real estate and getting clients is so simple. We just complicate it. What do you love to do? I heard someone say once, if you love golfing, then go golf more, and that'll bring you the business. You need to do whatever it is that you're doing intentionally as prospecting. Just put it on your schedule and make sure you're consistent, and it will work. Do you love throwing open houses as events or open house events? Like, you don't have to be cold calling or even making video content as much as we talk about it on this channel. You don't have to be doing those things to get clients. There's so many ways to get clients. Do you love volunteering at your kid's school? That's great. Well, let's do it intentionally in a way to where people know that you're in real estate and you're doing it. You have a plan behind it. You're not just showing up, but like you plan to wear your brokerage hat. You plan to have an answer if someone asks you about how's the real estate market. You know what you're going to say. Just do whatever it is that you enjoy doing. You can put your real estate twist on it, and it can bring you business if you're consistent with it and you're intentional with it as well. The last thing I'll say about this is that the thought of, why would someone want to work with me? I'm not good enough for them to work with me. That goes away when you believe in yourself and have a positive image of yourself as a real estate agent. And one of the big things you can do to change that, we talked about the self-talk in the beginning. Take that thought that says, I'm not good, and why would they work with me? Why wouldn't they work with someone else? And then throw it away and replace it. You got to replace it though. You can't just push it to the side. Replace it with something else. But also another thing you can do is, how can I make myself more competent right now so that I actually do have the skills? Like maybe I think that I suck as a real estate agent because I actually do suck. Maybe I think that I'm worried about going to show a house because I don't know anything about houses. And then again, I always say this, but because it's something that I think is a huge deal that a lot of personality types do, is do not get into that mindset of I have to be perfect until I can start, because that is never going to get you anywhere in your business. But you will learn best and improve by just doing the thing, and real estate is the biggest example where you really have to just throw yourself out there and go and improve as you go. But what can I do now to improve my skills and make myself more competent? Maybe if I'm with Real Broker, I can go to Workplace and go to the Real Academy, and I can tune into weekly masterminds and join live the masterminds that are about the very things that I want to do for my business. And then I'll have a little bit more competence, and I won't feel so inadequate in my job because I actually do know what I'm doing. Because a lot of this, oh, I'm scared to do this. I'm scared to go on a listing appointment. It might just be because you haven't educated yourself enough about listing appointments. But again, always got to add, do not get too in over your head, because at a certain point you just have to do it, and you're not going to feel ready the first time. No matter how much you study or are ready, you literally have to just do it. So that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Again, I come on here every week and talk about real estate. I have been stuck under that 14,000 subscriber mark for so long. So hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Let's get over that 14,000 mark. If you enjoy listening to these videos in a podcast form, head to the link below. I have head to the link below, and you can listen to this on Spotify. And we'll see you next week.